Hey guys, in this video I will explain you about what are our optionals. But first, I'm gonna start with an example, and then afterwards I will be using optionals and explaining to you uh, the the concept behind it. So let's start with a problem that is given two values, uh, return the max value. So for this for this example, I would create a variable called max value and a function get max value, and I will receive two values, value 1, for example 20, value 2, 3, and print out the value. So I will create the method, the function get max value. I will grab the value 1 in this variable, and I will have value 2 as well. Sorry, should be int, another int, and it will return an int. I will return for now -1, so it is returning -1, so it should be returning 20, right? So let's write the logic for that. If value 1 is greater than value 2, I will return value 1. So if I run, the correct result is being shown. But what if I change the order, for example here, and it'll return -1, which is not right. So I will create the logic for the other case. And if value 2 is greater than value 1, I will return value 2, which is okay, 30. But what happens if I return if I have two values that are the same value, contain the same value? For example, 2 and 2, it will return -1, which is okay, right? For our fun, it could be okay for our purpose, because there is no max value, and we return -1. But what happens if we have two values, -2 and -1? And in this case, -1 is the max value, but -1 we are using it for having well, for the case when we have two values that are the same. So in this case, -1, it is not a good candidate, right, to know if the two values are the same. Well, we could use another way to have a case for when the two values are the same. We could use enum, for example. I could have an enum called max value, and I could have two values, two cases. For example, I could have sum, and in another case, none. But for the case sum, I will have associated a value. So I will declare the type of the variable associated. In this case, it will be int. So instead returning an int, we could return now an enum. I will call max value, and when we have the correct values, we could return max value dot sum, and we associate the correct value that is the max. And also for the another case, value 2, and in the case if we have two values that are the same, we could return this case value none. So and when we have here the two values given, we see that we have the correct value showed, but it is an enumeration, right? A case of an enumeration. So in order to get the value of or which case we are, or the value that is associated to some, we need to use we could use a switch. I'll make some space here. So I will use a switch statement. I will list the variable that I have here, and I will declare the two states that could have the enum. So in this case it would be value associated, and the another case would be none. So in this case I could print the max value that is associated with this case, and in another case will be we are sure that in this case the two values are we are in the case that the two values are the same, so no max value. We could print out that. So if we see the results of the print, we could see that now we are printing the value itself, right? So for example, if I have 30 here, here 1, the value printed out is 30, or another case could be like 10 to 10, and 10 is the max value, right? And it's printed out. And in the case that if the two values are the same, there is no max value, which is okay. So another way we could solve this problem is using an enumerator, right, which has two cases. In one case contains contains the max value, in another case is well, in case when we have the two values are the same. So well, instead of using our own enum, we could be using optionals, and at the end, optionals are just enums, and we can test this this concept that optionals are enums in this example. For example, for instance, if I comment this code and I can change this returning type to int optional, I could let's see. Wait, I have print max value. Okay. Here. Max value. Oh yeah. I will get back to my last code. I forgot to show you another way. For example, if I run this code, everything should be okay, and yeah, it's okay. It's working like before, and I could obvious this the name of the enumeration, and I could just list the cases, and Swift will infer which enum we are using, and we are using this for these cases, because Swift internally knows that we are going to return max value, right? So that we can obviously the name of accessing of the cases. So if we run, it'll be okay. So if we want to use optionals, we could change only this part, and everything is the same, right? It's working okay. For example, the max value is 2, or at 320 the max value is 20. So now we can see that internally optionals are it is an enum, because we can access like using the different cases that we could have some and none, right? Some is in the case that we are in the case that we have the optional it is a value, or none when the value of the optional is nil, right? Even we can use like optionals are being used like this. We could return only the int, or we could return nil, and this code it should be working too. So as you see, it is working. It's working okay. So 30 is the maximum. If we have two values are the same, no max value, right? So and optionals are it is just another type, which is an enum that allow us to have another additional state to any type that we want, right? In this case, we have an int, and we are declaring that the result will be an optional int. And there are some ways to access an optional. One way is using a switch, as you can see here, using the .sum, .none. Or another two ways is using forced unwrapping, which we could access using the admiration point here. And well, let's see, if we have this case 32, 30 is the max value, 8 is we are accessing, because if we print out the max value, we can see that we are printing out the optional, but we don't want to have the optional. We want to have the value itself, that is 30. So one way to unwrap this optional is using the exclamation point, and we access the value, right? But the problem using forced unwrapping is when we are in the case that the optional has a nil value, we will have a crash in our code, because we are forcing the unwrapping. We are it is supposed to have max value, correct value, but not nil. But in the case that has nil, it will crash. So like this, if we have 30 and 30, we can see that there is an error, because max value contains nil. So this way of unwrapping the value, it is the unsafest way. So the safest way that Apple suggests us to use is using the optional binding, which is using an if let. We declare here the name of the variable, like value example, and here we list we are the optional value that we are using, right? And with this statement, we are saying that if the optional value has really a value, we will hold that value here, and this site of code will be executed. Otherwise, the max value has a nil, so it is going to be for this way, and we can print like no max value. And in the case that it contains a value, it will run this piece of code, the body of the if. So here we can print the max value is, and we print out the value, right? So I will comment this part. So in the case of 30 and 30, they are the same. You can see that the else is being executed, so no max value. But if we have 30 and 3, this side of code, this part of the code is being executed. The max value is 30, and the last case will be value 2 is the max. The max value is 30. So as you can see, the way of to access an optional is using the safest way to access an optional is using the optional binding, right? And there are rare cases where you could use the forced unwrapping, but the preferred way will be always the optional binding. So let me know if you think that I need to explain in more detail this part, and yeah, I'll be creating more videos about this optional section of Swift. So thank you for watching me. Until next time.